Well, it is mid-February, and that officially means it is NFL rumor season. But what we're going to talk about tonight is one of the biggest holes on the New York Jets roster, that being the tight end position. So we'll talk about what they have on the roster, who they can target in free agency, and who they can target in the draft as well. Plus, we got Jets trivia tonight. We might be spinning that wheel, 3 and out, all that and a whole lot more. But I'll tell you what's up. It's Wednesday night. It's 6 p.m. Eastern, and we are live. And well, welcome everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wa2K99, your party host for the weekly Wednesday night live extravaganza. And this is episode number 82, the 82nd time that we've done one of these Wednesday night live shows. So whether you're here for the first time or you've been here since the very beginning, thank you. And another big thank you. We have hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. Slow but steady. But we have gotten there. I am very happy about that. And now the march begins onward and upward. 1,100, 1,200, 2,000. Don't plan on stopping anytime soon. All right. With that out of the way, first of all, how's the weather where you all are right now? I'm here in North Carolina, so we are getting a whole lot of snow. This is the 4th time that I've had work canceled because it snowed. All right. And the roads, as about maybe 4 o'clock, just started to get a little bit of a covering on them. For a while, it's been snowing, but, nothing that I would call catastrophic. I mean, I'm used to seeing, 10 inches, 20 inches, living in New Jersey, living in Chicago, going to school in Boston. So down here, not overly worried about it. But, it's been a decent amount of snow here. And a lot of businesses have been closing early as well. So I guess when you're not used to it, it's a little bit more of a panic mode. So that's kind of what's going on over here. Up in Virginia, it's pretty crazy. Hey, David D., how you doing, man? That's right, 1,000 subscribers. There you go. There's the me pantomiming with a party favor. So there you go. All right, so we're going to get into this right now. Let's get into the sports talk. Let's talk about what's on my mind, first of all, with a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. I want to talk a little New York Mets baseball first. Frankie Montas. So the news comes out Monday afternoon that he is dealing with a lat strain in his upper back, latissimus muscle, a high-grade injury. He has just gotten a plasma injection, and as somebody who donates a lot of plasma, I can't help but wondering if Frankie Montas has some of his plasma in me now, which just seems weird. But that's the deal. So he is expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And on the back end of that would be mid-April. And then you have to factor in a month of buildup. He would need a full spring training. So realistically, the best scenario is he misses the first 2 months of the season and he's back by Memorial Day. But what this does is it does open the door for another pitcher, whether it's Tyler McGill, whether it's a Griffin Canning or a Paul Blackburn, who is recovering from spinal leakage. But the big thing that Met fans are talking about is Jose Quintana, who is a free agent, was with the Mets the last 2 years. Quintana has expressed interest in returning. Reports are out that the Mets are interested in bringing him back. But the thing you have to remember is the Mets are in the second tax level. Any more contracts they sign, any more money they spend twice that amount in reality. It's a 110% tax. So if Quintana was to accept a 1-year, $10 million deal, or if they paid that to, say, Jose Iglesias, well, they're paying a little over $10 million again in taxes. So it's really $20 million or $21 million. So I really don't know if that's worth it. I think the Mets are going to explore all internal options before they actually go out and sign somebody. So Yeah, the pre-spring train and Giancarlo Stanton with the Yankees. He's got elbow injuries, and it looks like it's something he's going to have to master pretty much all season long. I mean, Stanton is an amazing slugger, but he gets injured every single year. It's got to be tough on Yankee fans. Let's talk a little hockey right now. I mean, how about that Four Nations tournament? We previewed it about a week ago, and who knew it was going to catch on as well as it has. The final is Thursday night at 8 p.m. The USA against Canada. The rematch, you might say, and this one will be in TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. A lot of controversy here with the roster situation. So the USA has lost Charlie McAvoy. He has a very severe shoulder injury, it looks like, so they're trying to bring somebody back on. Quinn Hughes, who may be the best or second best defenseman in the world, has missed the whole tournament for the U.S. with an injury. The United States trying to sneak him back in. All right. The problem is there are no set rules on injury replacements. So it's a little bit controversial who's going to wind up playing in this game on Thursday. But if Quinn Hughes plays for the U.S., watch out. That'll make a heck of a difference. But the NHL league itself resumes on Saturday. You got the Rangers at the Sabres up in Buffalo. Plus, they go to Pittsburgh Sunday afternoon. So the Rangers open up with back-to-back games. Saturday, the Devils will host Dallas. And on Sunday, Dallas will then go to Brooklyn to take on the Islanders. Well, Long Island, but it still feels like Brooklyn. But they'll be going to the UBS Arena. So they're looking forward to hockey season coming back. Oh, and actually, one other thing I'm gonna mention here with the NBA. First of all, did anybody actually watch that All-Star Skills competition? Oh my gosh! I mean, if God bless you, if you like basketball more than hockey, then that's totally fine. But if you actually found the All-Star competition more exciting than Four Nations, I don't know what to tell you. But the league resumes tonight, and it's a barn burner. Check this matchup out: the Charlotte Hornets at the LA Lakers, and that game is at 10 p.m. That may be as unwatchable as All-Star Weekend was. But then Nets have a tough one coming up, hosting the conference best Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Knicks will host the Bulls on Thursday night. Then Friday, Knicks in Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers, the best team in the East. So both teams, both the Knicks and the Cavs, playing on the East Coast, then flying to Cleveland in Northeast Ohio for a very big game on Friday. Interesting setup. And by the way, some notes on the Knicks with their injuries. Mitchell Robinson has been cleared for 5-on-5 practice. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. He will not play, however, on Thursday. OG Anunoby is back to practicing. He is questionable. And Josh Hart, not great news. He is missing this game due to a knee injury. So maybe it's a situation. The Knicks want to hold these guys out so that they can be ready to go for the big games coming up against Cleveland. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's get that out of the way. Now that we got 3 and out done, I think what we're going to do is we are going to change the mood here. I think we've had a lot of blue and orange. I think we're going to flip it over to green now. There we go. That looks quite good. And yeah, let's give us that little green background right there. And just as I do that, a bunch of people pour into the chat. How about that? All right, everybody, it's time to talk a little NFL. Time to talk some New York Jets. So everybody, say it proud. If you can, say it loud. Let's do it. There you go. So let's get into some New York Jets news. So one thing that we have to talk about here. Yeah, let's go with that. That looks fine for right now. So the franchise window has opened. The NFL is now in the window when you can sign players to franchise tags or transition tags. As of right now, I don't think there's been any official news about this. Just some news about certain players who will not be tagged, such as Javon Holland, the safety for the Dolphins, who I like a lot. Trey Smith, the guard for the Chiefs, will not be franchised as well. Again, don't expect any Jet to get franchised. It doesn't make sense. About the only guy you'd really do it with, you could do it with DJ Reed, I suppose. But even with Jamien Sherwood, I'd say if you talk to most Jet fans, that's the player that they want to keep most. But the franchise number for a linebacker right now is about $21 million. Do you want to pay Jamien Sherwood, have his contract go from $1 million to $21 million? Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. I've been having some camera issues, guys, here. I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, may have to Hopefully everybody can hear me. Hey, thank you very much, Danger Zone. Appreciate that. Thank you for the $2. Thank you for the super chat. There we go. Right, boy, I feel like the opposite of Wilson from Home Improvement right now with that look. Oh my God. All right. Well, let's just do this for right now. I guess we'll turn the we'll turn the background off for the time being. All right, no problem. Hey, Harlan Abraham, how you doing? Howdy to you as well. We got Wild Wave here too. Thanks for stopping in, my friends. Appreciate it. Hope the weather is not too bad where you are. Hope it's been a happy hump day for everybody. Okay, so then we get into the news of the franchise we talked about the franchise window, but we had some salary cap news come out. So in 2025, the range for the NFL salary cap will be somewhere between $277 and $281 million. That is up from this past year of $255. So we're talking of an increase anywhere from $22 million to $26 million. So over 2 years, it's an increase of $53 million. So this will definitely help out, considering the Jets will be taking a big hit in 2 years with that Aaron Rodgers contract. Again, the cap hit can be big, but if the salary cap itself is large, it makes life a whole lot easier to handle. It's about the percentage of the cap. And so right now it's looking to be a little bit more advantageous. Moving on up to the east side. That's right. Yeah, most towns, the east side is the rough side. You know, Detroit, Raleigh, where I am, Chicago. Well, Chicago didn't have an east side. For them, they got the north, the west, and the south. But yeah, I think Dallas, the east side, is not where you want to spend a lot of time. But I just got to say this. It's been rumor after rumor as of late. Is anybody getting just a little bit tired of this? I'm going to try to flip this back over here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to try the actual camera one more time. Doesn't work. We'll just go back to leaving out the virtual background, but hopefully it'll work. But it's been rumor after rumor over the last couple of days, especially with quarterbacks. It's been the Jets are going to be in play for Kirk Cousins. It's been the Jets are talking to Tennessee about trading up to the number 1 spot to draft Cam Ward. It's been the Jets are hot after Justin Fields. Well, I would expect that. But again, it's all smoke and speculation. Just in the last 30 minutes, our favorite beat reporter, Diana Rossini herself, reported that Aaron Rodgers wanted to leave the Jets. A little bit contradictory to the last thing where Rodgers was basically begging. So again, you can't overreact to these reports. You know, it's just if we fretted over every single rumor that came out, you know, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. It's just, I don't know. I just don't want to be the kind of fan who has to live in panic mode all the time. But we think about that cap space. So, and Nick Faria pointed this out on Twitter. Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard, even though the Jets only have about $20 million of cap space, effective cap space after you factor in the draft class, once Adams and Lazard go, that will give the Jets about a total of about $60 million in space. That puts them in the top 10. Right now, they're about 21 or 22 in the league in cap space. They're going to go up quite quickly. So there's always moves happening all the time. So I do expect quite a bit to happen. Well, I did want to give a little bit of love here to our favorite charcuterie man himself, Tanzel Smart. I can't even do the he gone for him because it felt like he was never even here. But he has joined the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff as a defensive assistant. So now the Jets are going to have to find a new player to sign and release from the practice squad about 9 times a year. So we'll see how many charcuterie boards there are there in the Arlington, Texas area. And another contract thing I want to mention before we get into the tight ends talk for tonight, Breece Hall and Michael Clemens reached enough playing time where they have earned escalators in their contract. So Breece Hall, his contract goes up from $1.5 million this past year to $3.3 million this year. And Michael Clemens' contract, well, it goes from $985,000, which I think some Jet fans would still call an overpay, to $3.3 million as well. Same amount of money that Breece Hall is making. I think it is highly unlikely Michael Clemens will be on the final 53-man roster come the end of August. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the tight end position. This is our main focus for tonight, and I want to kind of dig in. I really didn't even know up until Sunday night what I was going to do. And we've done draft previews before. We've done free agency previews before. So I thought what I would do, since free agency doesn't start for another couple of weeks, is talk about a couple of different positions that the Jets will need to address, I think, both in free agency and the draft. Because tight end is a position that needs an absolute overhaul from top to bottom. I mean, we look at the tight end situation right now, and also factoring in the new coaching staff. Tanner Engstrand, when he was in Detroit, he was the passing game coordinator and he was the tight ends coach. So you would think it's a situation where he wants to have a reliable tight end on his team. He saw what a player like Sam Laporta can do to an offense, because there aren't a whole lot of difference-making tight ends in the NFL. Nowadays, you could probably count them on one hand, and their windows seem to close before you know it. I mean, you could put Bowers, McBride, guys like that. Dallas Goedert, those are just a couple of names right off the top of my head. But as far as guys you really need to game plan for, there aren't many. Mark Andrews, I mean, God bless him, good player, but we know he had just a heartbreaking moment against Buffalo. Travis Kelce, not the same player anymore, and we don't even know if he's going to be in the league next year. So if you could find a really, really good tight end, you have something that very few other teams have. So I went back to what Tanner Engstrand said about what he wants from his players. I like the different things that he said. And here's what I found. He said he wants physical, explosive players. Not that any coach wouldn't want that, but he really emphasized those traits. So we take a look at what the Jets have right now, or what they had this past year. Tyler Conklin. Well, we look at 2024, and these were his numbers. 51 catches, basically 3 catches a game. Yeah, 3 catches a game. 449 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's not a horrific stat line, but, he's on the smaller side. He's not an explosive tight end. He offers very little in the blocking game. He's got great hair and a great beard, though. He was an okay tight end. I would say he was as far as a free agent situation goes, he was okay. He was fine. If I had to grade it, I guess I'd give it like a B to a B minus maybe. He was fine, maybe a little bit better than what we've had before. But I'm looking for a well-rounded tight end who can make a legitimate impact. Conklin's getting older at this point. He's not, I think we've already seen his ceiling. And then we look at Jeremy Ruckert. Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, Ruckert is heading into the final year of his rookie deal. This past year, he caught 35 balls, 264 yards, no touchdowns. And, by the way, that's not this past year. That's his entire career in 3 years, 41 games played, less than a catch a game. Okay. So, yeah, still he has as many touchdowns as Denzel Mims does. If a Jet position player doesn't have a touchdown, it's like we just compare him to Denzel Mims. It's about the only thing to do. But how do you evaluate Jimmy Ruckert? Well, he's not a good blocker, especially as far as being an inline blocker goes. He can block a little bit when he's in that H-back role and he has a bit of a running start. He's not a good pass catcher. He drops balls. Maybe you could say a new system might reinvigorate him, but you know what? If the Jets broke camp in August and his name wasn't on the final 53, how many Jet fans would really be upset outside of the Ruckert family? I don't think anybody would be shedding any tears. So to me, I really don't have any use in keeping around Jeremy Ruckert. Past that, Kenny Yeboah is a free agent, unrestricted free agent. I still think he's very useful as a special teams player. And if he's your tight end 3, great. But if they move on, I'm honestly not going to shed tears there. You can get a younger guy who's similar to Yeboah. And Zach Kuntz, you know what? We all love our Kuntz. I like my ODU guys. But let's be honest. None of these tight ends in my mind really develop their game in my mind. And I say that with all due respect to Ron Middleton. We love his personality. We love his fire and all of that. But when it came to blocking, catching passes, things like that, how many of these tight ends have improved over the last 2 or 3 years? Where did they get better? So I'm sorry to say it, but Middleton was a coach in my mind they really had to move on from because I didn't see a difference. Harlan Abraham saying maybe seems like the Jets will need 2 new tight ends. Maybe they will add another tight end to the team. I think it's going to be easily 2, maybe 3. I really, really do. Yeah. Danger zone. We need so many pass catchers. We do. Yeah. Yeah. Outside of Garrett Wilson, who's a reliable pass catcher on this team? Do you want to count Brees and running back? You know, he had 6 drops last year. So there are definitely a lot of moves that will need to be made. No question about it. Okay, so then we look at what might be available out there. Oh, 9 drops. Did I say so? I think that might have been the previous year. Wait a second here. See, I shouldn't look this stuff up, but now you got me. But now you got me thinking. Pro Football Reference. See, these are the things that just you say. Now I got to look it up. Let's see. Pro Football Reference. Here it is. Yeah. Yeah. 9 drops. Yeah, he had 5 drops each of his first 2 years, and then 9 drops this past. Yeah, he broke 6 tackles. So that might have been the 6. I don't know, but yeah, you're right. So good catch. Hey, Connor Long, thanks so much. Yeah, check out Connor's channel if you haven't already, and I don't know too many people who haven't. Definitely appreciate that. Think the Jets may carry 4 tight ends like the Ravens do? You know what? If you could find 4 tight ends worthy of being on this roster, great. The problem is we're starting with that many. Zippo. So we look at who is available on the market. So let's talk about the free agency class. And the first person I want to mention is Juwan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints. Now, this is a Jersey native, if that means anything. Hey, the Long Island native didn't work out. Maybe the South Jersey guy will. I don't know. But he's from Glassboro, which is down by Philadelphia, so the southwest area, a little bit south of Cherry Hill. He's 28 years old. Now, considering the Saints did not exactly have a whole lot to work with at quarterback, Johnson had a decent year. Caught 50 passes, 548 yards, 3 touchdowns. So about the same sort of record that Ty Conklin had. But Johnson was really sharing a lot of work with Foster Moreau. But in 2022, he had 7 touchdowns. And he is 1 year younger than Conklin, so he might get a little bit more money per. I don't know, but I could see Johnson getting a $9-10 million a year deal. And ESPN, they listed 50 free agents and what team would be the best fit for that free agent. And they listed the New York Jets as the best fit for Juwan Johnson. So you have a little connection there with Aaron Glenn being there. In Detroit, don't know or New Orleans, don't know how well they know each other, but maybe there's a little connection there between Glenn and Johnson. It's something worth looking at. Keep going. Mo Alley Cox. I just kind of like that picture right there. It's like he's hypnotized by the football there. And by the way, you could already tell based off these first 2 names, this is not a very inspiring free agent class. It's about as inspiring as the free agent quarterback class, if we're being honest here. So Mo Alley Cox has now crossed over the 30-year-old mark. And this past season was rather disappointing. He had under 150 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, he could still run block well. And you know what? If you have another tight end to go with him, like if you draft somebody pretty high and that tight end is worthy of being a starter, and this is who you bring in as a veteran, as your number 2 tight end, I can get with that. I can get with that. Then we go on to Tommy Tremble. That it doesn't feel like it was too long ago that people were talking about him in the draft process. Well, so he has been with the Panthers. He's been used in a number of roles, but it seems like they never really commit to him. But this year was pretty good. He caught 79% of his targets for 234 yards, which is his career high, and 2 touchdowns. Now, I don't think he is ever going to be a dominant receiving threat in the NFL, but he was a good lead blocker when he was with Notre Dame. He is only 24 years old. So with this one, there might still be some upside there to explore. And if it's a situation that could utilize his talents in the Engstrand-Turner offense, then it might be something worth looking at. And it's definitely not going to cost you a whole lot. Hunter Long. So the former Boston College tight end, he came in with some hype. He had 685 yards, 5 touchdowns in his final year of college. It has never really worked for him in the NFL. In 2 teams in 4 years, he has under 100 yards receiving. Now, he's still young. If you could get him going like he was at BC, maybe you have something there. What he will bring, though, to the table is he is a good run blocker. So if that's something that appeals to you, you want to bring him in as a run blocker, and you throw him 1-2 passes a game, okay, you can work with that. Now, one player that I actually am pretty interested in, This one is interesting. Is Irv Smith Jr. This is the fifth and actually the final free agent I'm going to mention. So this is a player who has had some success with Minnesota and with Cincinnati. When he was with the Vikings his first 2 years, he had over 700 yards and 7 touchdowns combined. But the last 2 years have not been friendly to him. He's had 117 total yards in 2 years and 1 touchdown. He's bounced back and forth between Cincinnati and Houston. And a lot of that has been due to injuries. But he definitely has talent. And if you can get a healthy version of Irv Smith Jr., you could use him as a sort of a 1A tight end. It's something you could at least work with. So I got to say, that is an intriguing project in my mind. So that would be a low-risk, potential high-reward scenario. So those are the free agents that I'm looking at. Now, if you're not too excited about that class, well, I don't blame you. I really, really can't. But that is what we're looking at as far as that goes. So now we're going to talk about the draft, and I'm going to break down 12 tight ends worth looking at in the NFL draft. Now, I'm not necessarily saying the 12 best tight ends. I wanted to get 1 or 2 towards the back end that you could look at in rounds in that 6th round. Remember, the Jets have 2 6th-round picks, and when you need to overhaul the whole tight end room, hey, if they were to draft 2 tight ends, I would not have a problem with it. All right. So as different things happen, as the combine happens and we learn more about these players, these rankings, we could change those over. There's a lot of things still to explore, but I wanted to do, this is the sort of the getting to know you stage. All right. Consider this, guys, the speed dating portion of this. We're going to get to know all of these guys. We're going to spend a couple of minutes on each one and getting to know you, and we will and we'll see what we think about some of these guys, and then over the next month or two, we'll see if their stock goes up, goes down. We can get into them a little bit more, but I think it's good to start looking at these tight end prospects right now. So I'm going to rank them from 12 all the way to 1, give you a little bit of a scouting report on them, and let me know your opinion on some of these guys, or maybe there's a tight end that you like that isn't on this list, and I'll be sure to take a look at it. The great Sharon McClain is here. How you doing? Draft Warren, Gadsden, and Evans. So, okay, so we want to go. So Sharon wants to draft 3 different tight ends. Wow. That would definitely be bold. That would definitely be bold strategy. But I will say that I see a start. If they draft Warren and one of the other 2, then I think a lot of Jet fans would be pretty good with that. All right, so let's get into the first tight end. Now, this first one is really a sleeper. I don't even know if he's going to get drafted, but when I do these lists, I always like to try to think of somebody that you might be able to sign as an undrafted free agent, and it's Gavin Bartholomew from the University of Pittsburgh. He's 6'4", 241 pounds. This is more of your blocking tight end. So he has been used as a screen and a dig and dunk option for Pittsburgh. He hasn't been running a lot of posts. As a matter of fact, his yards per route run is 0.79, last among tight ends. So they are throwing to this guy like Western Kentucky threw to Malachi Corley behind the line of scrimmage. So swing passes, screen passes, and then they just try to say, hey, here's the ball. Go run with it. The issue with Bartholomew, his speed and his explosiveness. He does not have those in spades, but what he does give you is a very high football IQ. He knows what to do in whatever system he's in. He knows where to sit in zone coverage. So his intelligence will do a lot. This might be somebody who can help out on special teams because I want smart players playing over there. But I don't know if this is somebody. If Kenny Yeboah didn't get drafted, I don't know if Gavin Bartholomew is. But certainly tight end is one of the deepest positions in this draft. So this is pretty fun to look at. Harlan, Bartholomew could be good. Yeah, you know what? He could. In a limited role, yes. He's not going to be Tony Gonzalez by any stretch, but he can definitely have a pretty solid role. If he turned into like Ben Hartsock, special teams contributor, good blocker, catches a pass once in a while, that's okay as long as you have somebody above him. All right, then we go on to number 11. Sharon, you're going to be happy. It's Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame, 6'5", 245 pounds. So this is a guy who did not show incredible production in college in the receiving game, but a lot of scouts think that he will be a better pro than he was in college. Here's a stat that I really like. If you look at his contested catches this year, he caught 72.7% of those. I love a receiver. I love a tight end who can catch passes in traffic. He finished with 43 catches, 418 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, we know if you know Notre Dame, you know their idea was ground and pound. Run the ball, play defense. That's what it was all about with them. So Evans is going to be one of those old school tight ends who kind of acts as that 6th offensive lineman in the run game and catch those short to intermediate type passes. He knows how to use his size and his spatial awareness to block well, and he creates mismatches. So if you're looking for a tight end to be a blocker and but can catch maybe a few more passes, Mitchell Evans could be a very, very solid addition. You know what? A lot of these scouting reports can be very, very similar. So just because they said one thing about Rucker doesn't mean that the same player, because he has a similar skill set, doesn't mean it won't work. I still think coaching has a lot to do with it. And let's be honest, the Jets were as poorly coached as any team we have seen over the last couple of years, especially from an offensive perspective. So I like, seriously, guys like Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, I think they could have had even better production if we had some competent coaching. So, unbelievable. And even the offensive line, AVT, Joe Tippmann. I don't want to get off on a tangent here, even though I am. But a whole new coaching staff, I'm especially on the offensive side, it gives me a little bit of hope. It really gives me some hope. So Mitchell Evans is number 11. Sharon, it's like you knew my list. Number 10 is Oronde Gadsden, son of the former Miami wide receiver, went to the University of Syracuse. So Gadsden is 6'5", 235. The thing with Gadsden is he is more of a big slot. He's been using the slot 58% of the time. That's 3rd among all tight ends in college this year. All right. He's in the top 10 in both receiving grade and offensive grade. And his pass blocking rate, here's what I like. His pass blocking rate is 62.8. That's 14th among tight ends. So here's the thing. You're not asking him to stay in line and block. You're asking him to make plays down the field other tight ends are not going to make. Gadsden has approached 1,000 receiving yards twice in his college career. So the thing with Gadsden is you have kind of a limited role, but what he does well. Right now, the projection is he would go around the 5th round or so, and he's definitely shown some production. So it's one of those things. I think he needs to be in the right scheme. And but if you're looking for explosiveness, which we think Tanner Strand is, Gadsden might fit the bill. All right. Now we're going to go over to number 9, and you're going to notice a pattern. There's a whole lot of orange on these slides here. My number 9 tight end, subject to change, is Jake Brenningstool from Clemson. So he's 6'6", 240 pounds, and he has a lot of the traits that NFL teams are going to covet in a tight end who catches passes. He has good size, a very good catch radius that creates mismatches, especially in the red zone. Now, his route running is beautiful. It's polished like a table in an Amish furniture showroom, okay? And he shows a very good understanding of coverage. He's a dependable target. He knows how to get open. He can line up in multiple positions for you, as the 6th offensive lineman, the X, the Y, all that good stuff. This year, not too different than Gadsden. He played in the slot a lot. As a matter of fact, he was in the slot 66% of the time. Now, on the flip side, what he needs to do is improve his yak. He is not very good at getting yards after the catch, and he has to use his hand. He's a little bit too much of a body catcher for me. That's a little bit of a worry. He has to learn to catch the ball with his hands better. And since he has that frame of a wide receiver, and I try to find like a more of a full body photo so you can sort of see how he's built, a little bit thin, I think, especially especially in that upper torso. His blocking is adequate, but he doesn't really have the physicality to set the edge and really dominate at the line of scrimmage. I think he's going to have to add some size and also a little bit of tenacity if he's going to compete against NFL defenders. So Jake Brenningstool, and I've even seen some people rank Brenningstool in their top 5 among tight ends, around 4 or 5. So there are those scouts who really, really like him. I just think the negatives are a little bit more pronounced than I would like them to be. Number 8 is Terrence Ferguson from the Oregon Ducks, 6'5", 250 pounds. So this is a well-rounded, very athletic tight end. He's going to have the ability to contribute as both a receiver and a blocker, okay? Very, very strong hands, reliable hands. He tracks the ball beautifully. So he's a dependable target in the passing game. Ball awareness is very good. He has the body control. He can win not just contested catches, but off-target passes, especially in the red zone. So it doesn't have to be a perfect pass for him to make that catch. Now, as far as his blocking goes, he's very physical. He shows very good technique. He's effective in both run and pass protection. And how about this? He forced 8 missed tackles this year. I like those tight ends who are well-rounded. So he could shed a tackle. He's strong, tracks passes well, very good. So what does he need to work on? Well, his route running is not as sharp as you would like. It needs to be a little bit more refined. Getting out of his initial step a little bit faster would help. He doesn't have the explosiveness you'd ideally want from your top tight end. And the other thing is his hands have really been a mystery. He has an 8.5% drop rate, but he also has a 60% plus contested catches rate. So it's one of those things. His hands are he's like a closer in baseball, really on or really off. It's Greg Zuerlein year to year. That would be the way I would describe it. Great year, horrible year. With Terrence Ferguson, it's great game, bad game. He'll make great catches, but then he'll drop an easy one. So he's projecting as a number 2 tight end in the NFL right now. At the very least, he can prove to be a red zone specialist. So Terrence Ferguson, and Harlan likes him. Yeah, Oregon does produce some very, very good athletes. No doubt about it. I think that's a verse from the book of Exodus he has tattooed on his arm. Hey, the great Johnny Jimenez holding down the fort down there in the Hampton Roads section of the great Commonwealth/state of Virginia. I'm missing out on all the snow. No, I got some snow. I don't have as much snow as you all do up there, but we definitely have some. Work got canceled today, and I don't have to go in tomorrow till 11 a.m. So I'll have some time to get my run in. Yeah, usually on Thursdays, I'm training for a 5-mile race, for those of you who don't know. And usually on Thursdays, I train after work. But in this case, I'll be able to train in the morning before I go in, which will leave my Thursday night wide open. So very happy about that. Hope that you and the family are staying warm. Maybe lighting the fire, lighting the candles, and making Mrs. Johnny very, very happy. So then again, you're watching the show right now, but so what are the odds of that happening? Yeah, maybe I should lower my voice like this. I don't know. Yeah, soundtrack. I don't know. Yeah, but Johnny, glad you're here, man. Glad you are here. I'll be in town in about a month. St. Patrick's Day weekend. I'll be in town for the Shamrock 5-mile race up there. So that's what we're going to be doing there. So that's number 8. And real quickly before we go on, just going to say we've got, looking at the like count right now, we got to get to 15 likes to spin the wheel tonight. And I will let you know, I have a brand new wheel. Never seen before, never revealed before, never used before. So if you want to see what the brand new wheel is tonight, it's just a one-shot wheel that will only be, how do I say this? Only usable for a certain period of time. So if you want to see that wheel a little bit later on, you got to smash that thumbs up button. We're still a couple of likes away from getting there. All right. So plug over. Let's go on to number 7, and let's go on to Nick Lachey's, I think it's his cousin, Luke Lachey from Iowa. From the back, it looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is the only one, by the way, the name. I typed that in black because if you put white on yellow, it looks absolutely horrible. But Luke Lachey is 6'6", 247 pounds. Big guy. So he's got this combination of prototypical tight end size. He's got soft hands, good football IQ. This is an attractive target for teams who want to bolster that tight end room with somebody who can contribute quickly. I know a team like that. Now, Lachey may not be the most elite athlete at his position, but because he has a very well-rounded skill set, he has a good knack for receiving the football, it's going to translate well. The type of scheme you want to look at him in is one that utilizes tight ends in different types of alignments and will rely on chain movers in the passing game. So this is one where he's going to be running posts, situations like that. And I'll tell you this, we know the Jets need field stretchers. That's something they haven't really had in a while. Garrett Wilson is a wonderful receiver, but, you're looking for somebody who can run a post, go down 10, 15, 20 yards, move the chains like that. Luke Lachey can do that. So he really does interest me. And so if you're running multiple tight end sets, if you need a dependable target over the middle, those teams are going to be looking at Luke Lachey. I could see the Jets being one of those teams. Probably his best trait is he has the ability to get yards after the catch. Now, injuries are a concern. He had a very bad ankle injury in 2023, though he did play this past season. The biggest place he could probably improve is against press coverage, getting that initial step, beating the press, and getting open. He refines his blocking a little bit, expands his route tree a little bit. He can develop into a number one tight end in the NFL. So Luke Lachey, that's somebody I would definitely, I'm going to be watching probably at the combine. All right, let's go to number 6, and it's Elijah Arroyo from the University of Miami. I would say if there's one tight end that where there is absolutely no consensus, is the one. I've seen him in people's top 5. I've seen him ranked 11 or 12 on some lists as well. I put him at 6. I'm very torn between him and Lachey for the spot. But I keep moving Lachey up. I could see Arroyo dropping. But Arroyo, 6'4", 245 pounds. This past year, 35 catches, 590 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaged almost 17 yards per catch. That I couldn't get away from that yards per catch number. Now, Arroyo had an ACL tear in 2022, came back, had a good 2024 season. Very, very good senior ball. He really stood out. He runs very crisp routes, excellent hands, very reliable target. He has, and his drop percentage is excellent, 3.1% drop rate. Give me those. And of his 35 catches, I know it's not a lot of catches, but 25 of those 35 catches resulted in first downs. He makes catches and makes impacts with those catches. He's got elite level speed. He is super fluid in the hips, which you like to see. He can create a mismatch against a linebacker or a safety. He's a matchup nightmare for opponents. He can stretch the field vertically. He will add a dimension to any NFL offense that they would want to have. And like I said, the Jets need a vertical threat or 2 or 3. Arroyo would qualify. Now in the run game, he's a pretty effective blocker. He's definitely willing. He has solid technique, but it does need a little bit more refining. It's almost like one of those tight ends. He hasn't been asked to do it too much, so now he really needs to learn that to become that trusted number one tight end. All right, because you don't want to be in a situation where the defense sees player X out on the field and right away they know, well, he's not blocking. This has to be a passing route because if he's on the field, he's going out for a pass. You don't want to have that. You want to be a versatile offense in the NFL. So Arroyo, raw blocker, but he's moldable. He's coachable. People love his attitude from what I hear. So I think that with good coaching, he can become a very quick contributor in the NFL. All right. So now what? Yeah. So Harlan, you were saying that Arroyo might go in draft. I'd be very surprised if he does. I think Arroyo goes like 4th round. That's going to be my prediction. Which is, of course, where a lot of people said Kenny Yeboah would get drafted. And we know how that went. All right. On to the top 5. All right. Here we go. Number 5 for me is Gunnar Helm from Texas. I told you would see a lot of orange on these slides. He is 6'6", 249 pounds, came out of nowhere to have a big season for the Longhorns. This year, Lachey might go undrafted. Oh, okay. I would be very surprised. I think Lachey is good. You know what? Here's what I'll say, Harlan. Let's see what he does in the combine, assuming that he's invited there. I think it'll be one of those things where that will make a difference for him. Let's see what happens. It's going to be interesting. But Gunnar Helm caught 82% of his targets this year, 13 yards per catch, 60 catches, 786 yards, 7 touchdowns. Okay. And what people have noticed about Helm is he's very good at creating separation. He navigates those short spaces really well. I talked about earlier some of these tight ends. it's tough for them to get that initial set, that initial cut to create that quick separation. Like with a tight end, you don't always want it to be just somebody who can just sprint and gain it that way. You want somebody twitchy, somebody who can cut quickly and get separation and catch like a 5-6 yard pass and turn it into something more. That's what Gunnar Helm can do. That's why I like him. His route running is very crisp. His hands are very dependable. He's excellent with short to intermediate passes, good threat in the red zone. In pass protection, he uses his feet well. So as a blocker, if you don't use your feet well, you got nothing else. Nothing else whatsoever. So he could pass protect. He could run block. That's going to enhance his value. The one thing is right now he isn't a consistent inline blocker. It's almost like Jeremy Ruckert where you want him to get like a bit of a head start in the H-back sort of a role or out on the outside a little bit. So if he can prove his inline blocking, then I think that's going to make him even more valuable. But I do like Gunnar Helm potentially. Danger zone. I know what you're doing. Lachey could be a hot prospect. Somebody might say 98 degrees. That's right. But I cannot name a 98-degree song, which is one reason I still have my man card, albeit it's on probation sometimes. Harlan drafted Gunnar Helm in a mock draft. PFF gave him poor grades. Well, PFF isn't always very reliable. We know that. Remember that AVT's first year when they said that Greg Van Roten had a better year blocking than Elijah Vera Tucker? So, here's the thing. There's all kinds of stats out there, and with all the different websites and sources, you can find the stats to suit your argument if you look hard enough. So let's just be honest about that. All right, so Gunnar Helm, number 5. On to number 4, and it's Mason Taylor from Louisiana State University. 6'5", 250 pounds. This is Jason Taylor's son, not to mention Zach Thomas's nephew. How about that? So he's definitely got some good bloodline. You wonder if that means Miami is going to go right after him in the draft. This past year, 55 catches, 546 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very well-rounded tight end. He's got a good blend of athleticism. Size. Look at how long and lanky he is. He's got like these, you could tell with those legs, he's going to have these really long strides and a very good football IQ. He can receive. He can block for you. As a pass catcher, runs very smooth routes, very clean routes. His hands are very reliable. He'll secure catches in traffic for you. He'll stretch the field down the seams too. And he's very willing to engage with defenders. He likes physical contact. So he's very effective in blocking in both the run game and the pass game. And because he's so versatile, he'll line up in the X position, the Y position. There's another tight end. He'll create a mismatch against a linebacker or a safety. What he needs to do is expand his route tree. At LSU, what he's mostly done is run flats and posts. So it's a situation where you want to see him learn some new techniques and learn some new routes to make him that much more dangerous. All right. And also improving his blocking strength, I think, will elevate his ability to be a complete tight end. Right now, I'd say he's a number 2 tight end. You want to play him more away from the line of scrimmage in the Y position. But if he can increase his strength a little bit, yeah, I could see a number 1 tight end in the NFL for sure. So Mason Taylor is my number 4. Now, my number 3, I think, is going to surprise some people. I think a lot of people out there have a consensus on who the top 3 tight ends are in this class. Well, I've got them a little bit out of order than what most people do. My number 3 tight end is actually Colston Loveland from the University of Michigan. He's 6'5", 245 pounds. But here's the thing. When I look at him, I see a very talented slot wide receiver who's playing tight end. I don't really see a true tight end. Now, Michigan is not a very heavy pass offense. Now, he put up good numbers, 56 catches, 582 yards, 5 touchdowns, even though Michigan had a lot of problems at the quarterback position this year. He's also missed some time due to injury. What I like about Loveland, he gives you speed and the ability to separate. He's got these long strides, just like Taylor does, and he'll get to his top speed very quickly. He has very good acceleration. I like that about him. His route running is also very refined. What I don't like is he has not been very good at contested catches. It's a situation where Loveland kind of needs to get open to really be productive. And that gets harder to do as you get into the NFL. As far as his blocking goes, I mean, he's willing to, but he is prone to missing assignments at times. I don't know if he has the highest football IQ. I really think that there's other tight ends who are more suited for that. It's a situation where if you have Loveland, that's fine, but you better have a really good 1-5 offensive line and a good blocking tight end there to back him up, because you don't want to play that exposition right next to an offensive lineman to ward off a blitz or a situation like that. So for that reason, Loveland does worry me as far as the Jets go a little bit. I think he would suit other teams a little bit better. So that's kind of my big controversial take, is that I have Loveland a little bit lower than most people do. So curious what y'all think about that. Still a few likes away from hitting our goal, about 5 likes away. So yeah, definitely share the show with somebody, or hit the like button if you haven't already. All right, and then there were 2. All right, so then number 2. You know what? Let's do a little drum roll. Is Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green University. I got to tell you, I like this guy. I like Harold Fannin a lot. Now, at 6'3", 238 pounds, he's not the biggest tight end that we're going to see. Most of these guys I've talked about are right around 6'5". He's 6'3". Now, I did see one report that made me laugh a little bit. I saw a report that says that Harold Fannin Jr. plays with Deebo Samuel. He's a Deebo type weapon. I swear, every year there's a couple of guys who get compared to Deebo Samuel because of the hands, the speed, the versatility. I am so tired of the Deebo. Are you as tired as I am of seeing the Deebo Samuel comparison? 30 years from now, it'll be like, yeah, this is Breece Hall's grandson. And by the way, yeah, he reminds us a lot of Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel. Didn't he play for the Niners way back when? Yes. Held out and got traded. Yeah. Requested trade and then got signed. Deebo Samuel is like the prototypical comparison guy at this point. But Harold Fannin Jr., check out these numbers. 117 catches, 1,555 yards. I think it was a conference record. 10 touchdowns. His drop rate, 3.3%. Ridiculous production. This guy is a relentless playmaker. He thrives with the ball in his hands. He could turn routine plays into highlight reel moments, to YouTube highlights. He's got sheer force, but he's really creative too. So he's not just strong. He's not going to just roll you over. He knows how to make a tackler miss. How good is he at making tacklers miss? 32 forced missed tackles this season. 32. That is crazy. Now, some people will say, well, watch 2K99. He did play in the MAC. It's not the SEC. It's not, the Big 12 or any of those types of conferences. Well, I'll tell you this. He was also very productive against Penn State and Texas A&M, 2 teams that were known as having 2 of the best defenses in the country this year. Okay? His hands are about as reliable as any tight end in the class. His run after the catch ability is great. The attitude is great. The intangibles are there. His grittiness, though, is gritty. He is probably as gritty as any tight end, and you know what? You can't coach that. I don't want to coach raw talent and then try to build up the motor. I want the motor first. Technique can be taught by a good coach. All right? Now, again, if anything, if there's a knock, he doesn't have the same size as some of these other guys do, and I don't really know if there's much room for him to add more weight at this point at 6'3", 238. And his blocking strength can get a little bit better, but he's willing to block, and that's half the battle. I really think Fannin is going to go in the top 50. I think this is a situation where if the Jets grabbed him at 42, I'd be very happy about it. I really would. Harlan said he could put on some weight. I've seen some reports that say he's about maxed out. Eventually, if you start putting too much weight on, then that could, that starts to nullify your speed and your explosiveness. So, ask Michael Clemens, ask Mekhi Becton. They'll tell you. I know he hasn't played a big-time schedule, but remember, he played very well against Penn State and Texas A&M. So I think there's something there. I think there's something in Harold Fannin. And then at number 1, as if there's any doubt, yes, it's Tyler Warren from Penn State. 6'6", 260 pounds. He gives you that combination of inline blocking, receiving ability, and just pure tenacity. You don't see this in the draft very often. He's coming off a season with 104 receptions, 1,230 yards, 12 total touchdowns, 8 were receiving. All right, so he had 4 touchdowns that weren't even receiving. He dropped only 2.8% of his passes. And here's what I like. Came down with 61% of his contested catch opportunities. Huge and very hard to tackle. Add in that he has the great ability to block for the run, which is something the Jets sorely need, is an improvement in their run blocking. And you have a very intriguing prospect. Now, how does he compare to Brock Bowers? That's what a lot of people are asking. Warren's bigger than Bowers with both height and weight. Warren will give you better blocking. He doesn't have the explosive level that Bowers will give you, but very few people do. But here's my thing with it. The Jets need, on one hand, they need a wide tight end to finish off the blocking situation for that run game. Because remember, if everything goes the way we're expecting, 4 starters are returning to an offensive line that is good, but was poorly coached and couldn't run block to save their lives. Right now, the only opening appears to be right tackle, we think. I'm assuming AVT stays at right guard. But they also need an X weapon who can take on targets, especially since the Jets have so little depth at wide receiver. They need somebody to tie this offense all together. And guys, I just got to tell you this. And I'm gonna take this off. I want to say this right to the camera. I'm tired of seeing one-dimensional players, guys who are either just fast, or they're just receiving tight ends, or they're good pass blockers but not good run blockers, things like that. Guys who can rush the passer but can't really play the run. I want versatile players who are well-rounded. Tyler Warren is a perfect example of that. He would come in ready to go from day one. Day one. It's just me, oos. Anyway. So, yeah. So, do I think the Jets would draft the tight end at number 7? It'd be risky, but I'll tell you what. I feel more confident with Tyler Warren than I would any of these quarterbacks. But again, if they don't go with Warren and they draft Fannin, if they draft Fannin in their second round and pick up another tight end later in the draft, that's good. But it's a situation between the draft and undrafted free agency. I hope they come away with two tight ends and then sign a veteran. Because to me, the Jets need 3 tight ends. Yeah. If you keep Kenny Yeboah, okay, that's fine. That's one. But I expect Conklin to be gone. I don't expect Jeremy Ruckert back on this team. And Zach Kuntz, he's got to earn his way onto the team at this point. I just hope the fact that now they have new coaching in place will be the kick in the pants and the change in direction that the tight ends need and this offensive line needs as well. Danger zone. I'd be really happy with Warren and an extra day 2 pick, but not solely him using 7th overall like Jeremiah prognosticated. Solely him using 7th overall. Are you talking? So, Danger, if I'm following you, are you saying you would like Warren and another pick, but you don't want just Warren in the draft? I hope I'm understanding that correctly. Harlan doesn't think that Tyler Warren will be a Jet. I mean, this is one of the fun things about this. It's a situation where the Jets could go any one of 10 different directions with that first round pick. Trade up, trade down, wide receiver, tight end, defensive lineman, cornerback, quarterback. It would all make sense. Yep, Jeremiah mocked him to us at 7. Yeah. Oh, I see. Maybe trading down to draft. Okay. I think Warren is definitely going to go in the top 15 to 16 picks or so. I could see that happening, but here's the thing. If you like a player that much, you draft him, you don't get cute. Because that's when you get burned. Now, if it's a situation where the Jets have a couple players they like and they're all gone in the first 6 picks and somebody wants to move up, absolutely move up. I'm all in favor of that. But it has to be a trade that makes sense for 2 different teams. And I wonder what player teams would move up for at 7. It's one of those things where you almost have to hope that the quarterbacks just show out at the combine or at their pro days. You know, maybe Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe do move up and somebody wants to draft them that high. Is Danger saying bye-bye to Kuntz? I know. It hurts. It hurts. All right. There you go. So hey, that's our look at the tight end position, the initial getting to know you stage of the tight end situation. And as we get closer to the draft, we'll go back to this list. We'll refine it a little bit. And I think this is what I'm probably going to do the next probably 2 weeks or so. I'll do another position next week. I think I'm going to do safety at this point because I think that's another position that just needs a ton of change as well. So we'll look at a couple different things. Maybe we'll look at wide receiver, cornerback, different stuff like that. Because there's definitely different positions that we can look at. But what I'm looking for is not where the Jets just need one player, where they need a lot of help, where they need to overhaul everything. Caden, Jets Page says, get Noah Fant. I think he means Noah Fant. I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about here. You want Noah Fant? Yeah, no Fant. Yeah, from Seattle. He's I think he's a free agent. Is he a free agent at this point? I don't think so. Actually, okay. So Seattle is $13 million over the cap. That's the fourth worst situation in the league. So there are some rumors. So Tyler Lockett and Noah Fant are entering the final year of their deals. And Fant right now is making $13.4 million and has not been all that great. Right now, there are several Seattle reporters in Seattle who are predicting that the Seahawks will trade both Lockett and Fant. And if they do, that saves the Seahawks $26 million in salary cap space. All right, well, Fant, let's see. Fant's blocking grade in 2024 was 54.8. That's 47th out of 69 tight ends. He had 48 catches, 500 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, Seattle has so many weapons on offense between DK Metcalf, JSN. Lockett's still okay. Got a good running game as well. So, yeah, there weren't a whole lot of targets there for Fant. It's an interesting idea, but what am I giving up for? I mean, going into the final year of his deal, I don't know if I'm giving anything more than a 6. He hadn't had great production entering the final year of his contract. I'm not giving up a whole heck of a lot for him. He's 27 years old, so that's a good age. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like the Jets give up a 6 for Fant and a 7th or something like that. That kind of a trade, like Joe Douglas used to do all the time. That kind of a deal. But we'll see what Darren Muji. We'll see what his MO is when it comes to making these types of trades. What he tends to look for in drafts. If he makes trades, what does he do? What does he do in free agency? Does he jump early? Does he wait for the first wave, then jump on the second wave? We have a lot to learn. There's a lot of things we don't know. That kind of makes it exciting because, hey, the unknown is a whole lot better than knowing the heartache. So, but yeah, Caden, it's an interesting idea. I'll tell you what, considering how uninspiring the free agent options are, I wouldn't hate the idea. But are the Jets going to take on a $13.4 million contract? If they got to take all that money on, and they only have so much cap space to begin with, you want to devote $13 million of it to Noah Fant? Even if you cut Lazard and Adams, and you have $60 million to work with, do I want to give almost 75%, almost a quarter of that money to Noah Fant? I think it's a little bit rich. I don't know. I don't hate it, but I'm like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know what I'm talking about? All right. I'll tell you what, guys. It is 7:03 right now, and I think it's time to do something that is a bit of a tradition here on the New York Sports WickerMedia channel. Every week, well, you know what happens. I head into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I pull up the websites. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I, Watsu K99, challenge you. You know who you are. The most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in all of the National Football League. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you're ready, let's play Jets Trivia. All right, it is that time once again. So everybody, you all know the rules. I put 5 minutes on the clock. I will give you a question. We will post it here on the board, and then put what you think the correct answer is down there in the chat. So tonight's question It's going to go a little. We're going to talk about the 2024 season. I think starting next week we'll really start to get into more of the draft questions. Because I like doing the draft trivia questions. They really are a lot of fun. So this is a potpourri question. We're going to go with the 2024 season. So no matter how young you are, I know you remember it. And your question tonight goes like this. Name the 4 Jets who caught exactly 1 touchdown in 2024. They didn't have 0 receiving touchdowns. They didn't have 2 receiving touchdowns. They had 1 and only 1. There were 4. Can you name all of them? All right, let's see here. All right, Danger Zone goes with Ty Conklin. Is it Ty Conklin? It is not. Conklin, I believe, had 2 touchdowns. Actually, no, I'm going to put the whole. I'm going to pull this all up. Receiving touchdowns. Conklin actually had 4 touchdowns. He was 4th on the team. So he had 4. Okay, let's go back to comments here. Hey, Billy SBC, how you doing? Billy wants Ted McMillan. He wants to get that number 2 wide receiver right away, and he wants to get him with the 7th pick. Hey, if that happens, I'm okay with that. The great Sharon McLean goes with Kenny Yeboah. Is it Kenny Yeboah? This thing just reset on me. Kenny Yeboah. Yes, it is. Kenny Yeboah had 1 touchdown, first of his career. All right, so we got 1. Danger Zone, 1 receiving. Yes, 1 receiving touchdown. That's why I said caught 1 touchdown. So, yeah, so I do hope I made that clear. Danger Zone goes with Braylon Allen. Is it? This thing keeps resetting on me. Is it Braylon Allen? It is. So we got 2 down and we got 2 to go. And we got just about 3 minutes to go. So Chad's doing pretty well so far. 2 more names. Man, is this not the slowest time in the sports world, by the way? Man, no basketball, no hockey. Baseball's just in spring training, and yeah, football's nothing but rumors. Wild Wave goes with Xavier Gibson. Is it Xavier Gibson? It is. And Danger Zone goes with Isaiah Davis. How about Isaiah Davis? Well, you guys knocked that one out. Yep, that one only took you about a little under 3 minutes. It's Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Xavier Gibson, and Kenny Yeboah. So, chat, very, very well done. Good recovery from last week. So I would say that today the chat got this one right. So you know what that means. All right. Very well done, guys. Okay. There you go. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. We're still a little bit. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're a little bit short on our like goal right now. We're still 3 likes away. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, we're 3 likes away from hitting that goal. But I will show you, for those who are just joining, the brand new wheel that I have created this week. And I'm going to show you that wheel, and let's see if that gives anybody a little bit of inspiration. So here's what I'm going to do. Go to edit that wheel as the Chick-fil-A ad comes up. Here's our newest wheel. First round pick. That's right. I've got all kinds of names the Jets could potentially pick. I've got Mason Graham. I've got Travis Hunter. I've got Will Johnson. I've got Tyler Warren. I've got trade up, and I've got trade down on this wheel. That's right. So, hey, this is a brand new addition that we got here. So this is something that you'd like to spin, because we know the wheel is never wrong. Never, ever wrong. So if you'd like to see who we're going to land on, then you know what you all got to do. So, but that's the latest addition to the wheel family. Wheeling and dealing, baby. So, All right. Yeah, just looking to see if there's any other comments here. Anything else on anybody's mind right now? Okay. Everybody, thanks for getting me to the 1,000 subscriber mark. It's been a long road to get there, but I'm very happy to be there. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. It is. Looks like it's 7:10. I think we're going. Yeah, I think next week we'll do another position breakdown, just like we did here with the tight ends. Again, I'm really looking at positions the Jets really need to address in depth, not just like one player, but several players. So I think safety is something that we're going to look at. I think wide receiver as well will be a big one. I think I'm going to wait a little bit on things like defensive line because, the defensive tackle, because, the Jets could use help there, but they don't need to completely change everything over, but they could use one or two players. So we might do that as well. But, I want to make sure that we hit up safety and probably safety and wide receiver. I'm thinking of the next 2 weeks before free agency starts. So, all right, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Have a great rest of your week. And I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody.